Hi Aquarius, this is going to be your Sun, Moon, and Rising video for October 2025. Please check back your Moon and Rising sign as they're posted because these are general readings. The message will not resonate with everyone. So, my website is under construction too, so if you want to book a reading with me, you have to email me at hiddenlotustarot@gmail.com. Okay, I have with me today the Radiant White deck, the Lavita Sibila for clarification should we need, and we'll wrap the reading up with a Golden Nostradamus card. Let's get started. I've already done some meditation and shuffling on your sign and glyph. I'm going to put another rifle and another shuffle on the deck. I just need to do an extra one, I felt. Okay. This will be a 9-card spread. Let's cut the deck. Here we go. First card down is the King of Coins. Even if you are an Aquarian male, you can be a King of Coins, okay? So don't get confused. The Chariot card. The Queen of Pentacles. Well, usually, whenever the King and Queen of the same suit come out, that means they are either married or related. Usually married. So let's move to the next row. The King of Swords. And just because it's two kings, it doesn't mean it's still not you. It can be two aspects of yourself. The Hierophant. The Temperance. The Knight of Wands. The Knight of Swords. The Moon. Man, that's all. That's all 5 court cards and 4 major arcana. Okay? So what is it over the entire reading? The Knight of Swords. Let me look at this. Well, right off the bat, I know there are at least 3 or more people involved in the situation because of the number of court cards. However, I never read the court cards as people. I read them as messages. Knights are a bit bigger message, but they come in to move the situation along. Okay? So, right in the center, we have the Hierophant card. And so, the Hierophant is a 5, so it talks about changing energies, tense, kind of terse energies, discordant energies. It's also the ruler of Venus. So, this may have to do with money, the second house. It can have to do with your finances. It can have to do with everything that you own, earn, or owe. Taurus represents the second house, all those things. But also represents, Venus also represents beauty, love, and harmony, and contracts. And in order to get somebody to come along or to agree to do something with you, you have to make it attractive to them. So the card talks about either getting counseling from somebody, like a priest or whatever. It also deals with hierarchical structures. So this could be like schools, hospitals, universities, anywhere there's a hierarchical structure, and one person disseminates what he wants done down to the masses. Also, because it's represented by Venus, it talks about right relationships. Okay, you don't want to go in relationship with somebody who doesn't want the same thing that you want, and you don't want to go into a relationship with somebody who is going to be mean, or he's going to shortchange you, or lie to you, or steal from you, something like that. So sometimes this can be doing the right thing. That's what the card is about. In this sense, that's what I'm picking up. So the cards are read past, present, future. Past, present, future with the interplay of the cards. I have here the King and the Queen of Coins. So they both can be earth sign people. So Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo. Same thing for the female. Both of them either own a business. They make, I don't want to say lots of money, but it could be lots of money. They can be wealthy. He can be a banker. Same thing for her. He can be a banker, a accountant, a cashier, a financial advisor, a stockbroker, or a company owner. Anywhere where money changes hands and physical work is being done. I don't want to say physical work, because the coins represent the physical world, the physical realm, the third dimensional realm. So something like that. In between them sits the Chariot. Now the Chariot is an interesting card. It represents Cancer, and it represents the moon. So I feel that there are some emotions between these two people. And a chariot is a vehicle. It's a war vehicle. Back in the olden days, people used to ride in chariots. In Roman times, Egyptian times, they rode in chariots. And chariots were very dangerous vehicles to ride in or drive. So you had to have the skill to handle the horses. And you had to have patience, because if you were traveling a long distance, it wasn't a ride like an Escalade. It was a bumpy, dusty, hot, dry kind of ride. And you could be thrown at any moment. So the Chariot card says, first of all, you have to be able to reconcile the dark and light of yourself, the two halves of the whole. That's the first thing. It's about controlling your emotions. It's a 7. So 7s are spiritual numbers, but they also are a number of patience, whereby you are required to stop and think about the next step that you take. I think it's something important here that I'm not seeing. Why do I say that? That's because I have the Yoni symbol on the shield right here of the Hierophant with wings above, but I also have 2 keys at the base of the Hierophant, and keys do 2 things. They either lock things away and keep them secret, or they open things up. They open doors. Next, we come to, just a second, I'm going to have to stop because my electrician is here. Okay, I was saying that next we have the Temperance. And the Temperance talks about moderation, economy. It's about reconciling the opposites. Like you want to do one thing, but you should do another. Or you want to have one thing, but you should have another. It talks about compromise. Most people, excuse me, when they come to me and ask me, are they on the right track? I tell them, like in career or path, life path, when this card appears, the answer is yes. But it doesn't not say you're going to get there soon. See how long the path is? And the crown back there? That's a prize. Or that's where you're trying to go. The key to the Temperance card is to moderate your emotions. The same thing with this card. And I think something is coming up near the end of the month where you're going to have to use your emotion or your intuition to figure out what's going on. So the Temperance talks about using logic and emotion to make decisions, but be gentle, be kind when doing so, particularly with yourself. And compromise is a word keeps coming up. I think you're going to have to compromise on something. But then we have these two knights. And I skipped over the King of Swords for a reason. Hang on. I have these two knights here. And two knights in a spread typically mean that you doubt the sincerity of a male friend. Okay? And they're rushing back to the past. So I don't know that this is a message coming from the future to the past. So it could be about the past. But anyway, the knight rushes in super fast, and then the Knight of Swords comes in super fast, and immediately following him is the Knight of Wands, who comes in somewhat recklessly. The Knight of Swords comes in to break everything up, but then it's a reckless message. So the King of Swords is an air sign male. He could be an Aquarius, a Libra, or Gemini. By profession, he usually a police officer, a fireman, a surgeon, an oral surgeon, a dentist, a chef, a writer, a scientist, an editor. Anywhere where sharp tools or sharp intellect are needed to get the job done. But it ends with the Moon. And let's take a look at this Moon card. It has three figures in it. The dog, which represents the domestic side of ourselves. The wolf, which represents our wild side, and our emotions, which is crustacean. And you have to go down the path of the dark path between two towers. You know, we can always see more clearly by the light of the sun than we can the moon. And when it's dark, even if it's full moon, shadows begin to take on shapes that we don't recognize. So it causes fear. It can cause illusion or delusions or madness, psychosis even. But the Moon card says you have to travel that path anyway, even if you're scared. So in order to do that, use your intuition. So I do have two kings here, and two kings in a spread indicate some type of business venture. But over here I have the Nine of Swords. And this card is talking about insomnia, fears, anxieties, sadness, sad circumstances that can't get out of your head. Sometimes it's a guilty conscience. It's a 9. So 9s are the focus on the completion of events. This is about worry and fear. The 9. And it says that you're all in your head, whoever this is. See how the swords make like a ladder? And they're piercing your heart, your neck, your head. And so the key is This is a hard energy to get out of, but the key is to climb your way out of your head, because the reality of the situation may not be as bad as you think. So I can't really look at anything except for the Nine of Swords. It's not even in a spread, but I can look at it as it relates to these 4 cards. The Chariot, the Hermit, Temperance, and the Moon. And I'm going to pull cards on the Moon, because sometimes the Moon is not good. So let me look at the Nine of Swords and see what cards are can tell me something about this. Nothing. No, absolutely no cards. I have 4 of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 3 Sibila cards for clarification. So I don't know if this is business or if it's like I kind of get the sense that it may be a business deal. Like somebody wants to go ahead, but somebody says don't do it. And she talks about compromise, but there's something that she instinctively feels he's not being truthful. One of these guys is not being truthful about. And I would say it will be the King of Swords. Why? Because this knight represents him. It came from his court. It would be different if this was a Knight of Pentacles, which means that it came from the court of the King of Pence. So let's see. This is a very odd reading. I had the Scorpio one was somewhat like this. It doesn't say not to do whatever that may be happening here. It just says you be careful and use your intuition and trust what your intuition is telling you. This can happen around the new or full moon of October. Here we have the quarter moons and the full moon. So I'm going to look at the moon. It's also the outgoing energy. Speranza, which is hope. Hoping for something, waiting for something to happen, but having hope. The Vecchia Signora, she usually deals with like a family business, that one that has been in the family for a generation perhaps, and can signal doing things the traditional way. And the Vedovo, which is a widower. Now this card is somewhat negative because it implies that all he can do is put his clothes on and go stand at the grave. So let me get my book. The Vedovo. Vedovo. V-E-V-D-O. And see what it says about business. Business. It's also a swords card. A 3 of Swords. It's a very negative card. This is someone who has overcome the immediate shock of bereavement and has had time to pull himself together to visit the cemetery. That's what I said. All he had time to do was put his clothes on. The traditional meaning of the card is sadness, remorse, and regret. It's a card that represents intense loneliness, and isolation. It predicts lack of support, lack of affection, and even an inability to open one's heart to love again. The card describes someone who has suffered intensely, someone who has been defeated by hardships of life and lost all the joy of living. It can either represent the card indicates difficulty in interacting with people and warns of difficult times ahead. It can indicate dislike, hatred, and resentment between people. You will be left out in the cold, or feel you have been left out in the cold, with no one left to help you. You will feel utterly alone, as if someone pulled the rug out from underneath your feet. Someone you used to rely on for support will not be there anymore, or someone will withdraw their help. It can also indicate, metaphorically, a loss of some kind. In financial matters, it represents financial loss, dismissal, lack of money, and an unwanted business trip or relocation. It has another additional meaning, which indicates great distance. Somebody arriving back on the full moon. So, basically, it just indicates deep regret, guilt, and remorse that are gnawing away at the soul. I don't know why this guy is coming back, but I don't think the wife, if this is the wife, trusts him. I think the male is willing to compromise and go forward. Yes, even here. I think he's trying to rush. And I think everybody is a little worried about the situation. Okay? So, let me pull go to Nostradamus card. I think the Scorpio card reading had a bunch of people in it. And it was kind of difficult for me to tell what was going on because I didn't have a lot of other cards to read. I didn't have anything to bring out more of the story. But I've learned over the years that I don't have to know what I'm talking about when I'm reading the cards, because the cards are telling me. It may not make sense to me, and it doesn't have to. My role is simply to convey the messages of the cards. Okay? The cat. That's not a good card. The cat. With sweet little words and a pleasant face, the traitor convinces and gains your good graces. An ill-omened card that predicts betrayal or must encourage you to reflect on trust you have undeservedly placed in someone or in a situation you believe to be safe. It even predicts unfaithfulness in love. And that's what I have for you, Aquarius, for October 2025. Watch out and good luck.